Hello. Today we're going to talk about wealth and debt and how to talk about that with your children. Because wealth and debt can both be visible and invisible. Now, kids believe what they can see. They can see what they believe is wealth when they see a big house, a nice car, a swimming pool, a boat, all these kinds of things that they can see. They believe that that person or that family is very wealthy. What they may not know is how much debt has made it possible to have the big house, the big car. So debt is invisible. You don't see it, but it masquerades as wealth because kids believe what they see. And the reason there is debt and consumers take on debt is because they can't afford with what they have on hand to buy a house or to buy a car. So they take on usually a long-term loan and make monthly installments. And most people have had a mortgage if they have a house, and many people have done monthly payments to buy a car. So kids need to know this. They need to know that those things just don't appear, that there is some money at play behind it. So as wealth can be both visible and invisible, debt is always invisible. But it may look like wealth because of the things we can see. So helping kids just understand that little basic concept is good. And the idea of keeping up with the Joneses means that some people go into debt so they can have that visible representation of wealth. Borrowing money is what creates debt. People take on a mortgage so they can buy a house, and that's a good thing. They take on an installment loan so they can buy a car, and that's something that families need. They need transportation. However, the one thing you might want to really talk to your kids about is credit cards. A credit card is a loan. A credit card becomes debt if it's not paid off every month. And the interest on credit card debts is more than 3 times that on a home mortgage. As of August 2023, credit card interest was around 24%, where you could get a 30-year fixed mortgage on a house for 7.5%. And it's easy to accumulate credit card debt if you don't pay the balance when it comes due. Now, a lot of people don't like credit cards because they say, oh, the companies are trying to make money. Of course, they are a company trying to make money, and they tell you this up front. They give you 1 month grace period where you don't have to pay interest. But then when the bill comes due, you have another several weeks to make the payment before they charge the interest. So you know that at the beginning. And that's something you want to help your kids understand. Well, they're too young to have credit cards. A credit card is a very sneaky loan, and it's very easy to end up not paying it off, and then that just accumulates, making it much more difficult to pay it off eventually. One of my daughters in college graduated from college and thought she's a college grad, so she was using her credit card until she finally realized that she had credit card debt that was more than 3 times her monthly salary. And she decided she had to take care of that. She put herself on a very strict spending plan and paid it all off within a year. And the interesting part is she didn't even tell us about it. Now, she grew up with the no cash allowance, so she had been responsible for all her money decisions since she was 5 years old. But she wanted to fix this on her own, and she did. And we were just amazed and surprised and very proud of her for figuring out how to take care of it. It was a lesson she learned the hard way, even though she had, good experience all up until that point. So remembering that a credit card is a sneaky loan, it's okay for a month, then you better be prepared to pay it off. After that, you could be paying another 25% for that tube of toothpaste you bought last month. Think about that. You're automatically paying more. And that's what you want your kids to understand, that money has a purpose. And if you're going to use a credit card, that's fine, but you have to think ahead. My other daughter told me that she used a credit card in college, and she was okay with that because she kept a mental kind of a picture in her mind about how much she had spent, and she knew she'd be comfortable paying that off the next month when the bill came due. So a credit card was a convenience. It's a convenience for me. I use credit cards all the time, but I do pay off the balance. And so I'm not paying any interest, and I'm getting the benefits of the convenience of being able to use it. Now, again, credit card companies are going to charge interest because they're in business to make money. And I think they make a lot of money, but that's their thing. And they're telling you that up front. What's interesting also is I discovered with my children that they started lending each other money. They didn't talk to us about it. They just started doing it. I'm reviewing their accounts, and I'm saying, well, what are you adding and subtracting these numbers? Well, one said, well, she wanted to borrow some money, so we just figured out how to do that. We add and subtract. And then I saw this other thing, interest. I said, well, what's this? Well, I'm not going to give her money and then not charge her something for using my money. So they were charging each other interest, and they thought they had invented it. The other good part about that is they figured out on their own how money works by adding and subtracting, transferring money between accounts. It worked for them. They agreed on the rules, and off they went. It surprised us, but we were very pleased to see that they were figuring out how money works at a young age. So again, talk to your kids about wealth and debt. What's visible, what's invisible, because somebody may be living in a very small house, but have a lot of wealth. And we hear about those stories quite often. So click on the link below to read the complete blog on my website and maybe even order a copy of my book. You can download free allowance log sheets for kids starting as young as preschool. And please subscribe and share with other parents. And thank you for listening.